There is a moment in every big match where the entire outcome balances on a single decision. A moment where one call, one touch, one ruling from a screen at Stockley Park can swing 3 points, a title race and the mood of an entire fan base. Today at the Emirates Stadium, Arsenal versus Chelsea served up not one of those moments, but several. And every single one of them matters deeply when you understand what is at stake at the top of the Premier League right now. Let me take you inside this match from beginning to end, because the final scoreline of 2-1 tells you the result. But it does not tell you the full story. It does not tell you about the handball that nearly was. It does not tell you about the penalty that Gary Neville said simply was not there. It does not tell you about the own goal that silenced the Emirates just before half-time. And it certainly does not tell you about the individual performances that should have Mikel Arteta lying awake tonight, even in victory. This is the full picture, and that is exactly what this channel is here to give you. The situation coming into this match was already loaded with pressure. Manchester City had won their game the day before, cutting Arsenal's lead at the top of the Premier League table to just 3 points. 3 points. After all the work Arsenal had put in across this season, City had closed the gap down to the minimum it could be without actually overtaking them. So when Arsenal stepped out at the Emirates to face Chelsea today, this was not just a home game. This was a statement game. Win and the breathing room returns. Drop points and the pressure becomes suffocating. Arsenal had to win. That is the context. Everything that happened inside that stadium today happened under that pressure. Now, before I take you through every moment of this match, I want to take a second to speak directly to you. If you are watching this channel for the first time, this is what we do here. We do not just report what happened. We analyse why it happened, what it means and what it tells us about where this Arsenal side is heading. We go deeper than the headlines. If that is the kind of analysis you want, hit that subscribe button right now and make sure you never miss a video. The Melissa Arsenal analyst community is growing, and it is growing because we take this seriously. Now let us get back into it. The stakes today were clear. Arsenal knew that a slip would not just cost them 3 points. It would hand Manchester City a psychological opening that a team of their experience knows exactly how to walk through. On the other side, Chelsea came to the Emirates as a team with nothing to lose and everything to gain. A result against the league leaders would do wonders for their own ambitions and their confidence heading into the rest of the season. What made today even more delicate was the absence of Martin Odegaard from the Arsenal squad. The Norwegian captain was not available for Mikel Arteta, and that is a significant detail. Odegaard is the engine of Arsenal's build-up play. He is the player who controls tempo, finds pockets between the lines and dictates how the team functions in the final third. Without him, Arsenal were always going to look different. And different on a day like today carries risk. The question was whether the players available to Arteta could manage that risk and find a way to win. The answer eventually was yes, but the road to get there was far from comfortable. Let us start with how Arsenal got their first goal, because it tells you something important about this team. In the 21st minute, William Saliba put Arsenal ahead. The goal came from a corner, and it was a moment that brought significant satisfaction to the home crowd. The set-piece delivery found its way to Saliba, who converted, and it was notably Saliba's first goal of the season. For a centre-back of his quality, that milestone matters. He will be pleased. Gabriel Magalhaes deserves credit as well, because it was Gabriel who was described as absolutely unstoppable in the build-up to that opening goal. The defender's physicality and movement from the set-piece created the chaos that allowed Saliba to finish. So Arsenal had the lead. They were controlling the game. And on a day when they needed 3 points, everything seemed to be moving in the right direction. Then the first major controversy arrived. Victor Gyokeres, the Arsenal striker, chased down a long ball late in the first half. He got himself into a contest with Chelsea defender Trevoh Chalobah inside the penalty area. Chalobah made an initial challenge, winning the ball cleanly according to the assessments that followed. But a second challenge came in and Gyokeres went to ground. The Arsenal players appealed immediately. The crowd believed they had a penalty. The referee waved it away. VAR checked the incident and confirmed the referee's original decision. No penalty. Gary Neville, co-commentating on Sky Sports, gave his verdict immediately. He said it looked a little too obvious. He said it was an awkward fall from Gyokeres. He said there was nothing in it, that Chalobah's initial challenge was good, and then he went further. He said directly that Gyokeres dived. Now, that is a strong statement from a pundit of Neville's experience, and the VAR ruling backed it up. Chelsea were not punished. To car, Arsenal did not get the penalty. The situation here is that Arsenal had a chance to go 2 goals ahead and kill the game before half-time. That chance did not come. And what happened in the minutes that followed made the miss of that opportunity even more costly. Chelsea had their own penalty appeal in those closing moments of the first half. Declan Rice was involved in a challenge with Jurrien Timber inside the Arsenal box, and as a corner came in from Reece James, the ball struck Rice's arm. Chelsea players swarmed the referee, the away end erupted. Ian Wright, the former Arsenal striker, gave his verdict clearly, saying it was definitely a penalty. VAR looked at it, the check happened. John Brooks, the VAR official, cleared the incident and told the referee to play on. The Premier League's official Match Centre account on the platform formerly known as Twitter later provided the explanation. They confirmed that the referee's decision to waive away the appeal was checked and confirmed by VAR. The ruling was that there was no punishable handball offence, with Rice deemed to be challenging an opponent at the moment the ball hit his arm. Neville was not satisfied with that explanation. He said that Rice was the one imparting the physical contact, not the other way round. He said the incident did not look great for Rice. His position was that the Arsenal midfielder was fortunate. Daniel Sturridge, speaking at half-time on Sky Sports, took a different view. He acknowledged that, yes, the ball did hit Rice's arm, but he said that awarding a penalty in those circumstances would have been a soft decision. He pointed out that Rice was in a physical battle, in a jostling match, and that the contact was part of a contest rather than a deliberate attempt to handle the ball. So you had respected voices on both sides of that debate. What is not debated is what happened next. From the resulting corner, the ball went in off Piero Hincapié, an own goal. 1-0 became 1-1. And it happened in the second minute of first half added time, meaning Arsenal walked into the dressing room at half-time on level terms after having led for the majority of the first period. David Raya had made a superb save moments before Hincapié's own goal to keep out that Rice handball incident. Raya was excellent today. He rated an 8 out of 10, and rightly so. But even his brilliance could not prevent the equalizer, coming from the same corner routine. Sturridge called it a warning sign for Arsenal. He was correct. And it was a deeply frustrating sequence for Arteta to process at half-time. The Hincapié own goal is worth looking at from a fairness perspective as well, because Hincapié, the Ecuadorian defender, actually had an excellent performance overall. The assessment is that he played exceptionally well, aside from that moment, showing tireless energy and much-needed aggression in an otherwise flat collective display from Arsenal. His performance should not be defined by an unfortunate deflection, but football and headlines are not always that generous. Let us now talk about what was happening in Arsenal's attacking play across the first half and into the second, because this is where the deeper concern lies for this football club. Leandro Trossard was replaced at half-time, or more precisely, in the 56th minute. He received a rating of 2 out of 10. 2. That is almost as low as a rating gets. The assessment of his performance was described as abysmal. His afternoon was summed up by a single passage of play in the first half, where a terrible pass from the Belgian denied Arsenal a counter-attacking opportunity at a crucial moment. He was hooked, and rightly so, according to the analysis. And the conclusion drawn was a stark one. This Arsenal side is desperately in need of a top-class winger. That is not a minor observation, that is a structural problem. When your starting winger in a title-defining match produces a 2 out of 10 performance, it raises serious questions about the depth of the squad and the quality available to Arteta when injuries or form dips affect key players. Eberechi Eze fared only marginally better with a 3 out of 10. The playmaker had been celebrated for his performance in a previous match against Tottenham, but today he offered very little to Arsenal's attack. The pattern being identified is concerning. After a strong performance, Eze returns to a significantly lower level. That inconsistency is a problem for a team chasing a Premier League title. Martin Zubimendi received a 4 out of 10. The Spaniard looked tired. His passing in the first half was wayward. He was losing his man too frequently for a player in his position. That level of performance in a game of this magnitude is not acceptable, and the evidence suggests this has been a pattern for some time. Declan Rice earned a 5 out of 10. It was described as an uncharacteristically questionable performance from the Englishman, who was fortunate not to have had a penalty given against him and whose presence in midfield was not as strong as Arteta would have required. Victor Gyokeres received a 5. He worked hard, he made himself a nuisance, but his actual contribution beyond the effort and the penalty appeal that went against him was limited. The picture that emerges from the first 60-plus minutes is of an Arsenal side that was kept in the game more by the brilliance of David Raya and the defensive contributions of Saliba, Timber, and Gabriel than by anything their attacking players were producing. Bukayo Saka received an 8 out of 10, but even that comes with a caveat. The assessment is that Saka was Arsenal's sole source of threat, but even he could not truly influence the game because his attacking teammates were underperforming around him. Saka carrying the attacking burden alone is not a sustainable platform for winning a title. Now let us talk about what changed the game, because the second half produced the moment that ultimately secured the 3 points. Jurrien Timber scored in the 66th minute to restore Arsenal's lead. 2-1. It was Timber's contribution that made the difference. The Dutchman had been constantly in the final third throughout the match, showing hunger and drive that Arsenal's designated attacking players were failing to provide. His goal was not an accident. It was the product of a player who refused to accept that this was not his job. Arsenal fans may miss Ben White's attacking influence, and that point has been raised. But today, Timber filled that void and then some. He made his presence felt and he delivered when it mattered. 4 minutes after Timber's goal, Chelsea were reduced to 10 men. Pedro Neto received a second yellow card and was sent off. That changed the dynamic of the final 20-plus minutes significantly. Arsenal, with a 1-goal lead and the numerical advantage, were now in a position to manage the game. And manage it they mostly did, though not without one final scare. Chelsea striker Liam Delap had a goal ruled out for offside late in the match. Had that goal stood, we would have been talking about a very different result today. But the flag went up, the goal was ruled out, and Arsenal held on. 2-1, 3 points. The lead at the top of the Premier League is restored to something more comfortable, away from the razor-thin margin that had existed after Manchester City's win the previous day. The second half substitutions also deserve recognition. Kai Havertz came on and immediately brought a technical spark that had been completely absent from Arsenal's performance up to that point. Given his record against Chelsea, it was no surprise to see him look energised and involved from the moment he entered the pitch. He received a 6.5 out of 10, and his introduction was described as a huge boost for Arsenal to have him back contributing. Christian Norgard came on as well, bringing composure and experience in the final quarter of the game. He received a 6, and the assessment was that his introduction was welcome given what the team needed in those closing minutes. Gabriel Martinelli came on to bring pace and chaos, and his pace was certainly noticeable. But beyond that, his impact was limited, which is described as frustratingly typical of the Brazilian at this point. There is ability there, but the consistency and the end product are not arriving often enough. The bigger picture. So what does all of this tell us? It tells us that Arsenal won today, and winning is what matters when you are in a title race. Results-based football is ultimately what the league table measures, and Arsenal collected 3 points that they genuinely needed. But it also tells us that this was not the performance of a team operating at its ceiling. The midfield was below its best. The attacking width was severely lacking. The team relied heavily on set pieces for both of its goals, with corners producing the opening from Saliba and Timber's goal coming from another dead ball situation. The reliance on set pieces has become so consistent and so noticeable that even Gary Neville commented on it, reacting to what he described as Arsenal's predictable set-piece scoring against Chelsea. There is also the Martin Odegaard absence to keep in mind. Arteta confirmed his captain was not available and his absence was felt. Without Odegaard, Arsenal's creative play in open situations was significantly diminished. The VAR controversies will be debated for days. The Gyokeres penalty appeal that was dismissed, with Neville suggesting a dive, the Declan Rice handball that divided opinion, the Chelsea penalty shout that brought the Rice incident to light. These moments all shaped the match, and while Arsenal ultimately came through them all on the right side, they should not take comfort from that. The evidence across this game is that Arsenal got the result they needed, but they know they were not at their best. The depth of the squad is being tested. The consistency of key individuals is being questioned. And with Manchester City still only a few points behind and fighting for the same prize, Arsenal cannot afford too many more afternoons like this one. 3 points, job done. But Mikel Arteta will have a lot of conversations this week. That is the full picture of what happened today at the Emirates. Thank you for watching. Melissa, Arsenal analyst. If you found this analysis valuable, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment below telling me which moment from today's match you want to discuss further. Was it the Rice handball? Was it the Gyokeres appeal? Was it the Trossard substitution? Let me know. I read every comment, and I will see you in the next video.